Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome to the channel. I'm Tyler Fikes, and today we are going to be installing Stage 3 forged tie rods on the Duramax, the big LLY. I'm sitting in it right now, and I got the parts out there. I'm going to show you step by step how to do it, and then I'll do a time lapse of me actually doing the install. And so the reasons why you want to do these is because the tie rods is the most common breaking point on these trucks because they're so thin. They're about I think they're ½ inch thick, 1500, 2500, 3500, doesn't matter. They're all the same, and except the fittings are different. But the tie rod thickness is the same strength. So you lift your truck, you put bigger tires on it. Now it has a huge piece of wheel and tire. It's got to turn, and it's just a little thing as thick as my finger, pushing to turn a whole tire with 10,000 pounds of truck sitting on top of it and all that ground underneath just crushing the tire. So when you have that little thing and you push and then you have a lot of power going through the Duramax engine to it, you could snap a tie rod easy, especially if you ever go off-road and you're ever in four-wheel drive. It's just putting torque right on those spots, so you're gonna snap a tie rod eventually. This truck actually did break both tie rods at 80,000 miles. It's currently at about 140,000 miles, and you replaced them with stock tie rods, and they aren't bad right now, and he doesn't do much off-roading, but we got the upper control arms, we got the lift, we got big wheels and tires, so those skinny little tie rods just don't look right. So we finally got the Stage 3 forged tie rods. They're only about $300. They are direct fit installation, so I'm going to go show you exactly how you take the old ones out and put the new ones in, and then we'll cut to a time lapse. See you there. Alright guys, here is the stock tie rod that we were replacing, and you can see right there, those things are tiny. And then, so these are the tools you're going to need. You're going to need a 21mm deep socket, or if you don't have a 21mm deep socket, you can use a 21mm wrench. But I have the deep socket, and it makes it a lot easier, so that's what I'm going to be using. And then that is for this lower part right here that you have to connect. That's a 21. And then up there, it is a 20, I think 6, but don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure it's a 26. But I don't have a 26, so I'm going to be using an adjustable. It'll do the same job. And then this is optional. It is for breaking the fitting loose up there. It is really tight. So what I do is I put this into here, and then it gives me more leverage so I can pull on it and hopefully break that loose, because those are really tight, really hard to get off. So all you do when you're installing the new ones is you take this off, pull the tie rod out. It might be really hard to get out, in which case you hit with a hammer, a sledgehammer right here, and then right here, and this will like break the fitting loose, and then that'll smack it right up through. And you're throwing that away anyways with the new tie rod, so it might get a little damaged, but it doesn't matter. The knuckle will be fine. And then over here, you just crank it, loosen it up, you take the whole tie rod out, it all spins, the whole tie rod comes out. Then you come over here, grab your nice new tie rods. Mine are still in package. You okay, before you take those to the truck, you want to take the old one, set it right next to it, measure the length, and then tighten these down to be the same length. And I'll show you exactly how to do that once I get to that step, because if they're the same length, your alignment is going to be a lot better. No matter what, after installing these, you are going to need an alignment. But if you do that, it'll be a lot straighter going down the road while you drive from your house or wherever you're doing this to the alignment shop. So I'll show you that when we get there. For now, let's get started on a time lapse of the tie rod. So I'm going to set you guys up for a time lapse and we'll get going. Alright guys, that was the hardest thing to break loose that I have ever gotten off of a truck. It needed that for sure, every bit of it, and that's a long wrench, and I'm a strong guy, and that was tough. I was yanking on that. I had my foot planted on the lower control arm, and I was tugging with every might every bit of strength I could have trying to break that seal. But once it broke, it just spun out with my hand. And then, so this is out. I'm gonna set this over here because we need to measure, get those the same lengths. I'm gonna take the other tie rod out. No point in watching me do that one, so let's get to the measuring. One is the driver's side. It came off a lot easier actually on this part. I don't know why this one was so hard, but this one also had a lot more grease up in here and it was a lot more messy. So these are the old nuts that go on here. Just throw those away. Because these come with new nuts on the ends of the tie rod, so you can throw the old ones away. You're not using those. You're not using anything from this, so if you want to go break those, do whatever you want with them. Doesn't matter. Now for measuring, get to measuring tape. You want to measure from the middle of this, so make sure this is straight and make sure this is straight. And you're measuring from the middle of this, or the middle of the bolt, and the Zerk fitting luckily is right in the middle. And then you measure from the end of this part where it sits flush on the truck. Not from this because this is screwing in. You want to measure from this part on the edge right there. So I'm going to take measurements for passenger side and driver side, and then you make a passenger side one and a driver side one. It doesn't matter. These are exactly the same, but the measurements, unless these end up being the same distance. So you want to get those matching distances and then put them on the corresponding sides of the truck. So I'm going to get the measurements and then we're going to unbox these. Alright guys, these ended up being the same length, so it doesn't matter. For me, it doesn't matter. If you guys measure this one and this one is different length, it matters. But these measured the same for me. They were both 14 inches and 15 sixteenths. So that was from the middle of it, or from the end of this to the end of this. And you just measure the same exact measurement on this. Make sure they're the same, and you're good. So now these go in the garbage. We break out the new ones. So let me get a knife to cut those. All right, and now open these up. PPE forged stage 3 tie rods. These things are massive. They're about, I'd say at least 4 times heavier than the other ones. And these ball joints are way bigger. They're a lot stiffer too, but they'll break in, and we have to grease them still. That's the last step. If you forget to grease them and you run these on your truck without greasing them, you're ruining the ball joints right away. So let's get the measuring tape. I'm using the measuring tape to hold my camera, so I gotta go grab a different measuring tape. Alright guys, I didn't have another measuring tape, but I have this. Just make sure it's straight and it'll do the same job. Alright guys, I just measured these and I'm actually pretty surprised. They're the same exact size as the other ones. 14 inches and 15 sixteenths. So I don't have to adjust the length on these, but if you do have to adjust the length on them, all you do is you back this off and tighten it to where it needs to be. So now I do need to adjust it because I just messed with that a little bit. But it's all you do. You back this off, put it to the exact measurement you need it, measure from here to here, same spot you did on the last one, get the same distance, and then it is ready to go back on the truck. All right, guys, real quick, before we go to the truck, I just wanted to show you this. This is the nut. You need to hold this and then hold the tie rod and turn them opposite ways and tighten it down so this is snug to this so your measurements do not change once you put them on the truck. So I'm just going to do that real quick, then over to the truck. All right, those are tight. To the truck we go. All right, guys, now that we got the tie rod, you want to install this end first. You put it in, tighten it down, and as you saw, taking it off was extremely hard, so putting it back on should also be extremely hard. Tighten it down as tight as you can go. I don't know the exact torque spec, but I'm going to do that, and then you drop this into the knuckle, and it ended up being a 22. This did. If you guys got the same one, it's the same for you. If you got a different set, different for you. All right, let's get going. Alright guys, I'm amazed at how much bigger these are. I actually ended up having to use chan locks because the adjustable wrench I had that is huge doesn't go big enough. And then you saw I measured these to the right size, tightened them down. They don't, the holes do not line up, so I'm going to go move the tie rods that way so this hole will line up, and then I'll just have to do the same to get the other side to go in. And yes, that is going to throw the alignment way off, but it is getting aligned tomorrow as soon as possible. I'm going straight from the house to the shop. So let's go see if we can get this to fit. All right, on to the next side. And once again, you guys don't need to watch me install the next side. So we're gonna get that done, and I will see you after that. All right, guys, I got the tie rods on. The truck is all done. Let's take a look at them under here. So I greased the fittings right there. You gotta grease that Zerk, and then the Zerk back there. And if you have the 2010 or newer Duramax, you have to add a Zerk fitting to the tie rod. The 2001 to 2010, you have to, the Zerk fitting is already on the truck. I don't know if you guys can see it really good, but it's right up there. So I'm sure you guys know how to grease Zerk fittings. But anyways, I got the tie rods installed, went in the truck, turned the steering wheel, made it straight up and down, and the alignment is actually not bad at all. This one might have a little bit out, but that one's pretty straight. And this one is a little out too, and that's because I had to steer it a little bit to get those holes to line up. But other than a little bit of toe out, it looks pretty good. Sorry, this is in the way. But yeah, the alignment's not bad, so it'll do fine making its way to the shop tomorrow. It'll get aligned. Another truck mod installed. My hands are filthy, but the truck is done. It is a lot better off from the mod. It's going to handle a lot better off-road, even though this thing never sees off-road. And it's going to be able to handle those bigger tires a lot better. So definitely, if you have a big lifted truck, I recommend doing the tie rods. They are well worth the money, especially if you do any off-roading or if you ever go four-wheel drive, because all that torque running right there, you're going to snap a tie rod, and you're going to have to spend money on a new one either way. So you may as well just have fun putting a new one in. If you guys are watching this because you were learning how to install it, I hope the video helped you. Thank you guys for watching. Please give it a big thumbs up. Make sure to like, subscribe.